This congressional hearing wasn't just business as usual, it was a political powder keg waiting to explode. What started as routine questioning quickly spiraled into one of the most heated face-offs we've seen on Capitol Hill in years. If you missed it, let me break down exactly why Pam Bondi and Chuy Garcia's clash is all anyone's talking about right now. Before the breakdown, I will first show you the clip from the hearing.
Illinois is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Attorney General Bondi, glad you finally made it here after hiding for 4 months from this committee. I understand why you're hiding from us.
Chairman?
You're one of the worst attorney generals in our history and an instrument of Donald Trump's lawless authoritarian agenda, and I'm glad the American people are seeing who you are, how you act, and the lack of good values. You weaponize the Department of Justice to target immigrants, working families, and anyone that Trump deems an enemy of the state, all to protect real powerful criminals, including in your administration. My Democratic colleagues have focused on your cover-up of the Epstein files and your passion for protecting pedophiles and child traffickers. That alone is grounds for impeachment. But there's so much more to your corrupt tenure as Attorney General. You directed prosecutors to investigate elected officials in welcoming jurisdictions, and you got thrown out of court when you sued Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois. You directed prosecutors to prioritize low-level immigration cases while gutting enforcement against corporate criminals and public corruption. You revived draconian law of 1798, which should be repealed to illegally send people to a torture prison in El Salvador. You fired over 100 immigration judges, including the assistant chief immigration judge in Chicago, without cause, and installed unqualified military judges whom you instructed to deny asylum in violation of the law. You prosecute the president's enemies like Jim Comey and Tish James while giving impunity to federal agents who are murdering and brutalizing and terrorizing constituents, including in Chicagoland, in my neighborhood. I saw it last year firsthand. You and Kash Patel covered up the murder of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez in my district by ICE agents. You tried to investigate Renee Good instead of the ICE agent who murdered her, and you tried to cover up the murder of Alex Peretti by CBP agents. You bring fake charges against protesters like the Broadview Six and Marimar Martinez, whom your administration labeled a domestic terrorist. This is the Montessori teacher who lives in my district, while protecting thugs who terrorize us and DHS authority. That's what you do. Protect and enable the criminals who are plundering our society and destroying what's left of democracy and the rule of law. Epstein accomplices, mass DHS thugs, corporate criminals, Tom Homan, Eric Adams, insurrectionists, the list goes on. And you talk about fighting crime, but you protect any criminal who helps you and Trump turn our country into an authoritarian gangster state. And after all this, nobody supports you. I'm not talking about Democrats, I'm talking about conservative judges who are condemning the rampant lawlessness at DOJ under your leadership. Your prosecutors are quitting in droves over being forced to prosecute low-level immigration cases, including in Chicagoland. Your MAGA base despises you because you're covering up the Epstein file. How ironic. And even your own boss has repeatedly complained to your staff about you, calling you weak and ineffective. Weak and ineffective. That's what Donald Trump thinks of you already. You will not win, however. Chicagoland rejects you. The American people reject you. Our communities have demonstrated our strength and resilience in the face of cruelty and cowardice. Democrats must impeach and remove lawless officials like you and Kristi Noem and impose accountability for every criminal action. But you can spare yourself more humiliation. Resign now and submit yourself to accountability by the American people. Mr. Chairman, before I yield back, I ask unanimous consent to submit for the record this Wall Street Journal article dated January 12, 2026, entitled, "Trump has complained about Pam Bondi repeatedly to aides." Thank you, and I yield back.
Objection. Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
I thank the chairman.
May I have 20 seconds, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's hear the opposition research.
Thank you. That's absolutely right, that they're not running for, he's not running for office again because, well, I don't know why you're not running for office again, but after the filing deadline, you publicly announced you would not run when your chief of staff, Patty Garcia, announced and took your seat.
That's a state matter. That isn't a federal matter. You should investigate crimes.
Time belongs
You should investigate
Time belongs to the gentleman
violations
from
of the law.
Texas. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas.
And a little flexible.
It all kicked off with Representative Chuy García setting the tone. And trust me, he didn't hold back. Garcia went straight for the jugular, accusing Attorney General Pam Bondi of dodging oversight and keeping her distance from committee scrutiny for months. Instead of focusing on policy, Garcia launched into a fiery critique of Bondi's entire leadership style, saying she's steering the Department of Justice down a dangerous path. And just like that, the gloves were off. Garcia's main accusation? He claims the DOJ under Bondi is being weaponized. We're talking about allegations of using federal enforcement to target immigrants, working families, and critics of former President Donald Trump. He even dragged in lawsuits against Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois, saying these cases were politically motivated and failed in court. According to Garcia, it's not about justice, it's about punishing political enemies. But the real shocker came when Garcia brought up the Epstein case. He flat out accused Bondi's team of concealing information and argued that alone should be grounds for impeachment. That's not just throwing shade, that's turning up the heat to max. Suddenly, the hearing wasn't just about bad policy, it was about whether Bondi should even keep her job. Garcia didn't stop there. He went after immigration policy, slamming Bondi for firing career judges and replacing them with people he claims would undermine asylum protections. Prosecutors, he said, were being told to focus on low-level immigration cases instead of going after real corruption. The result? According to him, morale at the DOJ has plummeted, with prosecutors frustrated and even resigning. If you're finding this breakdown helpful and want more no-nonsense explanations of what actually goes down in Congress, hit that subscribe button now. It's the best way to stay informed without the drama. As Garcia wrapped up, he claimed Bondi's lost support from judges, political allies, and even her own prosecutors. He called for her resignation and impeachment on the record, backing it up with a Wall Street Journal article. Just to make sure the point landed. After that, another member shifted the discussion, but the damage was done. This was the headline moment of the day. At the end of the day, this hearing isn't just political theater. It's a sign of how divided Congress and the country really are when it comes to law enforcement, accountability, and the limits of executive power. Exchanges like this shape public opinion, future hearings, and even election narratives. So, what do you think? Was this real oversight or just more political fireworks? Let me know in the comments, and stay tuned for more breakdowns of the biggest moments happening in Congress right now.